Hey guys, welcome to the powerful and influential full moon in Sagittarius. The full moon in Sagittarius will be on the 26th of May around 2:10, 2:15 UK time. Now, this is a really powerful new moon, full moon, because it is an eclipse, a blood moon eclipse. What that means is it's extremely karmic. The sun and moon are in perfect alignment with the nodes, which are karmic points in the chart. When they line up, we call them game changers. They are moments in time where you really feel that it's time for things to change. Things that you've been doing differently, things that you've been, it just heightens the mood, and then you're like, okay, enough, I'm done. Now this particular eclipse is in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is all about wisdom and truth and belief, and it's also in line with travel. It's all interlinked. When we look at it from our own standpoint, we look at for me, I've been looking at two dates. About a year ago, when the nodes entered Gemini and Sagittarius, what were you doing then? What was irritating you? What was, what events were happening around that time that have now come full circle, and you're like, okay, enough, that needs to change. So that's one thing. The other is a little bit longer. So the nodes go back into their exact sign. It takes 19 years for it to do a full circle. Now this is in Sagittarius, which is wisdom. I want you to ask yourselves, what wisdom have you gained in the last 19 years? What lessons did you have to learn? What has made you get to the point where you are right now? Okay. Now, this full moon wants you to let that go, not be attached to it, let it go, and then turn it into something new. We have really strong influence of Saturn, and we've actually got another couple of planets retrograde. So we've got Saturn, which went retrograde on the 23rd. We've got Pluto that went retrograde a few days before. And then a few days after, we're going to have Mercury retrograde. Now, Mercury retrogrades allow us to go back. They allow us to slow down. They allow us to process information. So those combined with this full moon allows me to think that it's an extremely karmic time. You're looking back to 19 years. What have you learned? What wisdom have you gained? And now it's the beginning of a new cycle of doing things differently. Gemini is new information, curiosity, stepping into something new. So that's what you're trying to do with that. We've got Saturn, which, as I said, went retrograde, but it's the whole year it's been making a square to Uranus. Now those two combined are very interesting. Saturn ruled by Capricorn, Earth, sturdiness. Aquarius is that energy of innovation, epiphany, change. then it meets up with Uranus that is ruled by Aquarius in a difficult aspect, and it's in Taurus. These guys are really making us, you know, the whole year we would have all in our own personal lives had different things come up where it's really shaken our worlds to some degree. And I know on a global we have had a lot to deal with, but this is how the minor things are like how it's working for, no, I wouldn't say minor, but how it's influencing the person outside of what's happening on the global, whether it be you've had to change your job, or you've recognized that spending time with your partner, you guys aren't compatible, all these different things. They're really getting heightened, and those two influence together to me is sort of like you're waking up, you're becoming very aware. Now, Saturn Returners, so people with Saturn in Aquarius, you will be feeling this. But also, people born in 1990 and 1989, so my North Node in Aquarius, you guys will feel this as well, depending on what degree it's at. Because that retrograde will be either hitting your Saturn or your North Node. Again, dependent on the degree, so please check your chart. If it's 13 or under, it will. If it's not, it won't. Okay. So yeah, we're having big wake-ups. Jupiter entered Pisces, and it will stay there till the 29th of July, and then it will go back into Aquarius. Now, Jupiter spends around a year in a sign. And right now, we have the taster of what it's going to be like with Jupiter in Pisces. I'm not a mundane astrologer, but I know it brings a lot of rain. It hasn't stopped raining in the UK. I don't know about the other sides of the world. Another astrologer pointed out how, and she's in America, I think. She pointed out how there were strong winds where she lived. And they are in the UK, and there have been in the States as well as in Australia. I've just seen a lot of comments about high winds, and I feel like the North Node in Gemini is ruling a bit of that. But hopefully the winds calm down. But when it's Jupiter in Pisces, we might expect a little bit more rain next year. So be aware of that. But yeah, the next, till the 29th of July, we're kind of seeing what the new phase of Jupiter will be like, what it will bring for us. Usually it's a heightened sense of awareness, psychic ability, trust, prosperity. It's usually can be quite a beneficial energy. However, every single sign has its shadow, so it could be, you know, trusting people that you shouldn't be trusting, especially when it's to do with spirituality, having a little bit of a naivety or rose-tinted glasses. So be aware of that in the next year and a half. Not to give all your knowledge or self away to someone because they sound reputable. Now, this eclipse is great because it's in mutable signs. Now, mutable energy allows you to be flexible, allows you to have be adaptable, it allows you to embrace the change. We have yeah, influences in Pisces, Gemini, and Sagittarius. So that's great. We have the flexibility within us to move forward. That's a real beneficiatory energy. But yeah, now the last thing I want to say is to look at where Jupiter is in your chart, because that will hold a big clue on how this full moon will affect you. You know, if it's in the first house, it can be something in relation to your sense of self. In the second, what you have, what you don't have. Third, more like your family, community, aunts, uncles, their influence. Fourth can be your inner self, but also your home life. Fifth, an influence in your creativity. Sixth, how you give service, how you're there for other people. Seventh, your relationships. Should I continue? I just started and now I'm like, didn't mean to actually go into all the houses, but yeah. Eighth can be, you know, around your ideas around death, sex, contracts. If you have an influence of contracts, that would, thinking about contracts, that's your 8th house. 9th, it's the spirituality. Again, it's all Sagittarian themes, so truth, travel, beliefs. 10th, your career, your direction in life, where you're going. 11, your friendship groups, again, community. And the 12th, it's the unknown space, your deeper psyche, your deeper, the hidden self. So yeah, paying attention to those areas in your life, you know, to see where Jupiter is. You can just check on Cafe Astrology, they will let you know. Just see Jupiter and then the house number, and then you'll get an idea of where this full moon could be influencing, but also the houses that the full moon, so where you have Sagittarius and Gemini in your chart, that will be affected as well. So have a look at that. I think that's all I have to say. So I'm just looking at the chart. Yeah, I'm happy with that. All right, a little bit longer, but as I said, it's a really important one. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Lots of love.